Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, we'll talk about Patrick Williams' summer, and is this going to make him primed to take a big leap in his third year? We'll also talk about Dalen, and is the Rook poised to take minutes from Coby White if Coby White does not perform in his fourth season in the NBA? And then lastly, we'll get into McCord Maker signing an Exhibit 10 deal with the Washington Wizards. Did the Bulls miss out? We'll talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central. And listen, we jumping right in. Bro, Patrick Williams has had the summer that I think not only to make up for the time that he missed last season, to be prepped for training camp, maybe one of the best off seasons of Patrick Williams' career. It started with doing the 4 a.m. workouts with Demar and going down to L.A. He then went to the Summer League team, did some practices, some workouts with them. He then went on to do these 5-on-5 workouts. He then played in Drew League. Now he's practicing with Paul George. Do you think this summer that Patrick Williams and the work that he's put in, are we going to see a considerable leap from Patrick Williams? And then on the back half of this, we'll talk about if fans kind of have too much expectations and they need to come off that with a little bit with Patrick Williams. Where do you sit with Patrick Williams summer?
I hope he's poised to take a leap, right? This is one of the moments where, right, I mean, his initial season was the bubble year, right?
Yes.
And then kind of had like that weird training camp going into his second season and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is the time where like the world's kind of opened back up, and now Patrick Williams can get to work and get to doing a lot of different things, and he's taking full advantage of it, right? And this is what you want to see. Me and Kid from my co-host over on the Breeze, right? We were talking about it, and because right, he's knowingly a big Coby White hater around the Bulls circles, like very open about it. But how he talked about, or what I asked him, I was like, I want to ask a player how much work they're actually doing during the season. Because you would think that there's not a ton of work getting done during the season on working on something specific because you're spending so much time getting ready for a game. So now we're seeing these guys get the opportunity to work in the offseason, both Patrick Williams and Coby White. And I think that this is, to me, right, this is setting him up for a nice leap. We've always talked about Patrick Williams as this really nice defender, really elite defender, always in the right position, right? But Patrick Williams' offensive game, at least based on the things that we've seen of it, looks like it's going to take a little bit more, or it's going to take a little bit of a step. And I think that that's something that we've been wanting to see for now 2.5 years.
Yeah. And I think that, like, we do need to see him take a leap. And by a leap, what I mean is he needs to take his open shots more confidently. There are times where he needs to call for the ball. But, you know, I've been very vocal on the fact that it's not just on Patrick Williams. It's also on the coaching staff to put him in positions to try to grow his game. Guess what? If you keep allowing someone to stagnate, you're almost just as accountable for that, especially when you're a coach. So like, I need to see the coaching staff put him in situations. Growth is uncomfortable, right? That's why they call it growing pains. Yeah. To do that, you have to force times for him to do things that may be outside of what we've seen from him before. We saw it in the Minnesota game, right? The Minnesota game, they basically ran that whole offense through Patrick Williams in that game. So because of that, and he excelled at it. We do need to see more. We need to see more chance for him to do ball handling, see what he can do off the dribble. Now, of course, that can't come, and we don't want to see that come at the behest of wins, but we do need to see him getting those opportunities. And then if he does not perform, all right, listen, we went to you at the start of the third quarter. We tried to run a couple of sets through you. One out of those 3 were successful. We got some things to work on. All right, let's go back to getting our game in. We gave up a couple. We got to get back to playing basketball. Those are the type of things. That's how you build a player's game. That's what Pop does. And yeah, every coach isn't going to be Pop. Billy Donovan is no Popovich, but that's how you want to build somebody's game. So him having this offseason and being with some of the best competitors in the NBA, when you look at Paul George, the work he was able to put in. Paul George, another player who, I can't remember where Paul George was drafted, but I remember Paul George, that rookie second year, he showed a lot of flashes. Then all of a sudden that third year, it was like hey man, listen, Paul George is here. Yep. So you want to see similar progression. He worked with DeMar DeRozan. We know the work ethic that DeMar DeRozan, what he learned from Coby, all those type of things. And hopefully we're seeing the building blocks of a player that's going to be ready to take on a bigger chunk, but earns it. He needs to earn it as well. Nothing's going to be given. We'll let you try, but you got to earn it and take the most of those opportunities when you get them.
No, absolutely. And I think that's the one thing right about Patrick Williams, that here's the thing. He's not running from the work. He's out there actually trying to put the work in. He's trying to improve his game. He's gone and worked with DeMar. He's now working with Paul George. We've seen him working with multiple guys this offseason that are the bigger name guys in the NBA, right? Like, you usually go work with those guys when you're trying to improve your game, realizing, guess what, right? Like, it's not like he's not defending DeMar out there, or it's not like he's not defending PG out there. Those are things that are trying to improve things, a part of your game that you're already pretty good at, right? But maybe you want to get to that next level. And I'll tell you what, just seeing the clips of that 5-on-5 run, seeing P-Will sky up to block shots, I was like, good Lord. Like, you forget when P-Will's like not the most physically imposing person on the court at all times. You're just like, oh yeah, like he's definitely like 215. But then like when you see him with like a bunch of guards around him, it's just like, that's a big dude, dog.
Yeah, and the thing with Patrick Williams too is that ridiculous wingspan. Like it's bananas is what it is. So and hopefully Patrick Williams, I know we do need shot blocking on the team. We need rim protection. Rim protection is more than just shot blocking, but having a full offseason, hopefully a full season with Vooch and Patrick Williams playing together, they learn how to play off each other better. And I think that listen, the man's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. I think we got to drop that 6'7" thing. If you look at him standing next to some player, I think Patrick Williams grew an inch on us. I think he's about 6'8", 6'8.5", to be honest with you.
I think he got his weight up. That's what I think. I want to see how much he's weighing in at this season.
The weight is definitely up. Like, Patrick Williams is poised to have a good season. Now, the second half of this conversation that I want to have with you is that Patrick Williams came in. People wanted to make the Kawhi comparisons. People wanted to do this. I've always said I think a better comparison for Patrick Williams, in my personal opinion, is Luol Deng. And if he gives you Luol Deng in his prime, that's a pretty dang good player there too. Do you think that Bulls fans have their expectations too high for Patrick Williams too soon? 20 years old, about to be 21 in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. Do you think that some of the issues that Bulls fans have with Patrick Williams is because of those early Kawhi comparisons, that people just went right to that and now they think Kawhi, when I really don't even think that that's his game per se? What do you think, Pat?
No. You're fourth pick in the draft. Expectations come with that.
Expectations come. I'm talking about more of the comparisons, right?
I guess the comparisons, right? Like, I don't like doing the comparisons at all. I almost hate it, right? Because you never compare him to a player that's like a mid-level player or somebody like he's close. You compare him to like one of the greatest players of all time, or like the best dude that's in the NBA. And it's a curse every time, right? Anytime you hear this guy has LeBron type upside, it's like, well, he's going to be a bust. Like,
the only player that ever lived up to the hype is LeBron. LeBron's the only player that ever lived up to the hype.
Yeah, bro. Like, I mean, bro, Canadian Wiggins was Canadian Bron, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's like, come on, bro. Like, why did y'all say, like, you set this man career back 10 years. He had to go to Golden State just to get that stigma off of him. Like, so I think that the comparisons themselves are all stupid. But right, like, I guess I see why they made the comparisons to Kawhi. And the thing is, Kawhi's career went in enough of a normal like takeoff trajectory that you still have hope that he could be Kawhi, right? Like, it's just like every quarterback in the NFL, you hope that it becomes Drew Brees if he sucks the first 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Brees sucked too. Peyton Manning threw more interceptions this rookie year than the rest of his career. Like, no, those are different guys. Exactly. He's gonna suck.
Exactly. And I think people forget too, Kawhi averaged less than 8 points a game his rookie year. And then 11.9, then 12.8, then 16.5, then 21, then 25. Basically what I mean to say by that is even if you're going to use the Kawhi comparison, it takes time. And you would think, with as much as Bulls fans complain about, hey, every time we trade a player away, they turn out to be good. Okay, so then keep a player and let them turn to be good on this team. Like all that stuff. Like it's going to take time with Patrick Williams, especially when you look at him playing with players like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, who all gets heavy touches. Now, I will say, as I said with this, he has to earn the right to get more touches, but the coaching staff also has to try him. But like, let's take a chill pill on Patrick Williams and let's see. I still think Patrick Williams is going to turn into a heck of a player. That's what I think.
I mean, here's the thing. When you're the 4th pick in the draft, that's what comes with it.
I mean,
AK puts you in that position. Blame him. Like,
I'm glad
right?
you said
Like,
it that way.
When you get to year 3 of this thing, you have to be showing me that you have taken a step. We saw flashes of a step last year, but we don't actually know if that step was legit because he only played in 17 games. So this season is going to have to show us quite a bit, right? To see, one, if he's going to be a durable player, and 2, if he can live up to those 4th pick in the draft hype, right? Like, at least show me that, oh yeah, the scoring flashes are there.
This is facts. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a big season for Patrick Williams, man. Next up, we're going to talk about Dalen Terry and the Rook. But first, I got to talk to you guys about BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They got you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. All right, Patrick. Patrick, my bad, bro. We're talking about Patrick Williams. I said Patrick, my bad, Pat.
A parent walked in the room.
All right, my bad, fam. Listen, I mean, hey, listen, we're getting off that. So almost right along every step of the way, except for the initial 4 a.m. workouts with Demar, Dalen Terry has been there as well. Dalen Terry, in his first, I guess technically off season as being an NBA player, has really gotten to soak up a lot of game that a lot of rookies don't get to take up. He was there with this Paul George workout with Patrick Williams. He also played in the Drew League. He was there with the 5-on-5 team workouts. The question I'm going to present here, I do think that the season's going to start off. Dalen Terry may not get very many minutes to start. Coby White's still going to get an opportunity. They say they're going to reassess his rumors. They're going to reassess his trade value near the trade deadline. But do you think if Coby White comes in and he's inconsistent, or God forbid he is not playing well, is the Rook poised to take some minutes from Coby White this season?
Well, it depends on the Rook, right? Like, I mean, I think that Dalen Terry's got a lot of dog in him. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if he took minutes from Coby White. I wouldn't be surprised if he trash talked Coby White while he took minutes from Coby White. But the Rook's still, he's still a young fella. There's still going to be some things that he's going to have to learn. There's going to be some things that he has to figure out how to get on the court with, right? Like, you would think, right, it would be tough for him because offensively, the things we need, we can get in Caruso and Ayo. Defensively, the things we need, we can get in Caruso and Ayo. So you really just need that spot-up shooter that can be an offensive spark.
Yeah.
I don't think Dalen Terry's that kind of player. Now, we did see it a little bit in Summer League where all of a sudden offensively, like literally the day AK is like, we'd like him to stop focusing on passing as much and score the ball. All of a sudden, Dalen Terry's putting up 20-plus points per game. It's like, oh, okay, he can do that too. So maybe if he can find his niche in there, if Coby's playing down, he can come in and be an offensive spark off of the bench. But I do think it's going to be tough for him to find minutes, right? Because even if one of those guys go down, Javonte Green's there. Goran Dragic is there. Even if you want to bring him in, I think the best case scenario is him coming in, backing up Demar, maybe.
Yeah, I also think, and we'll see, because I think that a lot of that's going to go to Javonte. But the way that I look at it with Dalen Terry is that I think he's gonna get some minutes to start the season. I don't think he's going to start the season not getting anything. But if that energy, that athleticism comes through in big ways, he's not the shooter. Let's be clear. He's not the shooter that Coby is, at least not on paper, not right now, not by anything we've seen. He could turn into that. We don't know. The kid's so raw, he could turn into anything right now. But I look at it this way. The Chicago Bulls, when they were playing their best last season, they were getting out in transition. They were forcing turnovers. They were getting easy buckets on the other end. Dalen Terry is a player that can fit into a system like that pretty easily. It's just if his defense is able to translate early on, I think Dalen Terry can get probably between 8 and 10 minutes per game, but it's really so much up. And we don't even know what this rotation, we don't know who's going to be starting the season. We don't know a lot for the Chicago Bulls right now to be making these type of things. But like, I do think that there is a possibility of it. And as you said, the dog in him, the competitiveness, listen, we may see very much and not the punch, but we may see a Bobby Portis, Nikola Vucevic type thing between Coby White and Dalen Terry, because Dalen's going to talk that crap. So,
well, I mean, I think Coby can deal with that a little bit. But
Coby's better mentally.
A little bit better than Nikola can.
Yeah. And I think I said Vucevic, Mirotic, but
definitely Mirotic, not Vucevic. Good lord.
Yeah. Mirotic is from Europe. He's not used to the way we talk. Right? Like,
here's the thing. Hey, Nico be going at it though. Wasn't he got into a trash talking, you dig?
But I think it was after the Bobby thing. I think he learned after the Bobby thing.
Here's the question I have though, right? Because it seems like at a minimum, right, we've got our starting lineup. It feels, the reports are that now Lonzo's team feels good that he'll be back at the start of the season.
Yeah.
LeVar feels good that he'll be back at the start of the season. Take that for what it will. So we're talking about a starting lineup of Lonzo, Zach, Demar, Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic. What's your bench rotation, including Dalen Terry?
See, that's the difficult thing, right? Because our bench, the best players on our bench are all pretty small guards. Like Ayo Caruso, Javonte, Drummond, work DJJ in there some type of way, like, but even then that leaves out Coby, right? So that's another guard. Like, I really don't know how this. That's one of the things that I do not envy this coaching staff at all, because while as the start of last season you didn't have Coby White, so Ayo was able to kind of earn those minutes. Then when Coby worked himself back in, like, were we missing players by then? The time Coby came back, I can't remember. So much the COVID crap going on that I think we were,
because he came back during
the 9-game winning streak, right?
Yeah. So we weren't missing a ton of people. I think Zach had hurt his thumb.
Okay. So it's really going to be difficult because, like, I mean, Ayo, Caruso, Coby, all can both play Coby doesn't need to play any one, but they're all guards, right? So and then now you're bringing Javonte back. So unless Javonte's still back playing backup 3/4, then what happens with Derrick Jones Jr.? Derrick Jones Jr. shouldn't be playing backup center like he was when he was getting most his minutes. When Jones was getting most his minutes last season, he was our backup center. That's positions all but taken care of now. Like, we don't need you at backup center anymore. So
I mean, listen, here's the thing: somebody's got to ride the bench.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Who's more than likely riding the bench this season? That's the
Dalen
question.
Terry. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely more than likely not to get minutes. I think he's going to get some. Like I said, that's why I've always said he's going to get some opportunity to start. They're going to try to find a way to work him in there, whether it's initially just in blowouts, whether it's in garbage time. What he shows in those minutes, what he shows in practice, could be the thing that changes him. But the thing is, and this is what I say, I always got to hold myself accountable. One of my predictions last season with this is saying, hey, I don't think we're going to see much of Ayo next season because look at this guard rotation. Ayo earned those minutes. So we don't know what's going to happen as far as in practice and earning those minutes. But yeah, I mean, just looking at it, it's hard to picture a way where Dalen Terry gets a ton of meaningful, significant minutes. But practices and competitiveness may change that pretty easily.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's all about what he's showing the coaching staff in practice. You have to think this is AK and Billy Donovan's pick. This is their guy, right? So like that could play into it as well. Just like Ayo was their guy. Ayo got time quick, right? Like, but at the beginning of the season, it was here and there. But it was their guy. They were looking to get him time on the court. Coby White's not their guy. I know it seems like it was that long ago, but Garpax drafted him all of 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
He's going into his fourth season. Yeah.
So Coby White's not their guy. They're more than likely looking for Coby White insurance, but definitely Coby White replacement, because they have no attachment to him sticking around the organization like they do Patrick Williams or Dalen Terry or Ayo Dosunmu or Marko Simonovic, right? Like they're getting their guys in there. You see, we're poised for their guys to get a lot of playing time this year. Marco probably your backup 4 this season, backing up Patrick Williams, who's also their guy.
It's funny when you put it all that way. I mean, we'll see how this rotation ends up working out. It's going to be really interesting. Like it's one of the most, like, the starting 5 if everybody's healthy is, we know what that is. It's really going to be interesting to see how Billy Donovan uses this bench. If certain players get more minutes in certain matchups, like the coaching staff got their work cut out for him. So we'll see what they do when they go to work. But let's go ahead and get off that. We're going to get into the next topic, the last topic for today. And so somebody who impressed both me and you very much so in Summer League this year was McCord Maker. We had hoped that the Bulls were going to offer him maybe a G League contract, something like that. He ends up signing an Exhibit 10 deal with the Washington Wizards. Do you think the Bulls missed out at all? Because they could have tenured him an Exhibit 10 deal. Do you think, would you rather seen the Bulls do something like that? Where do you sit with it?
It doesn't hurt me one way or the other, right? McCord Maker was such a long play move for me. Yeah. He was a move that I wanted to see develop out maybe 4 or 5 years from now. Because again, right, like he would have been on that either the Exhibit 10 or one of the two-way deals.
Yeah.
If you get to the point where you're playing McCord Maker, something went wrong this year. Or it went really, really, really right, and he's just an amazing player. Yeah. But like more likely than not, right? Like something went wrong this year. Like Marko Simonovic isn't as good as we thought, or Andre Drummond has gone down, or Nikola Vucevic has gone down. Like those are the things that we don't want to see happen this year. So I'm not hurt by it. Unless McCord Maker becomes the next Giannis, then yeah, it sucks.
So for those who don't know what an Exhibit 10, because there's some confusion around exactly what an Exhibit 10 contract is. So Exhibit 10 contract is a 1-year minimum salary contract. It can be converted to a two-way deal, but that would have to be done before the start of the NBA season. Exhibit 10 deal also allows the team to control that player's G League rights, so they can also convert it to a G League deal. At that point, they'll be eligible up to $50,000 if they spend 60 or more days in the G League on that affiliate roster. So it's really one of those, it's basically a look and see deal. It's basically what it is. Either way, by the start of the season, they have to decide, are we going to convert this to a two-way? Is it going to be a straight up G League deal? Or they can convert it into a minimum actual NBA contract. It's one of the more versatile, low ranges of an NBA contract. It basically locks them in and says, hey, we're going to figure out what we're going to do with you by the start of the season. But he's able to participate in training camp. He's able to come in, practice with the team, things like that, while they try to evaluate him. It's the same thing that Kofi is on with the Utah Jazz. So, I mean, hey, shout out to McCord Maker for making that happen and getting that done. But like you said, with me, I liked McCord Makers. And like you said, it was a long-term play. I always, some people were like, oh, let's cut Tony Bradley and sign McCord Maker. And I'm like, you're stupid. Like, that's literally it's a long-term play. Don't get me wrong.
But
if you needed a roster spot, then yeah, cutting Tony Bradley, you could do a lot worse things. But I really would have liked to see him be on the Windy City Bulls. Like, I really like to see them, spend some time coaching them up. But, the Bulls may very well look at that and say, hey, listen, we still got this kid named Marko Simonovic, who we still believe highly in. We don't really have time for another project at the 4-5. So,
and I think that's what it came down to, right? I mean, you look at it, right? You think about the projects that the Bulls have, right? You now have Dalen Terry. Ayo Dosunmu is technically still a project. He's not a finished product yet. Marko Simonovic is 22.
I don't even know. It sounds about right, though.
Patrick Williams is will be 21 in 2 weeks. Like, you have a ton of young projects on this team already that you're really hoping pan out. Now, is there a problem with stockpiling those? Nah, but you want to stockpile those like we're doing now, like Justin Lewis is, right? At the G League
that's another
level.
thing we didn't think about that. Yeah.
Justin Lewis is another project that you have. Like, there's projects on this team already. It's just that some of them are good enough to be on the main roster.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Shout out to McCormaker for getting that deal. And hopefully, we'll be monitoring. We may never talk about McCormaker again because he could end up being a player that's forever in the G League. We don't know. He could turn into the next, I'm not going to say the next Giannis. He could turn into the next big man who can dribble. I don't know. But like, listen, bro. Listen. Because Bulls fans who still bring up Spencer Dinwiddie and the fact that the Bulls had him here first and then look at what he turned into. If we got to talk about that, if 3-4 years from now we're talking about McCormaker being the starting center on a playoff team, I'm literally going to look at you and be like, Pat, man, what happened, bro? What happened?
Yeah. That would hurt so bad, dog, because it would just be like, dog, like, we saw it too. Like with Dinwiddie, we really didn't see it.
Yeah. With McCormaker,
and let's be real. We wanted Spencer Dinwiddie over Walt Lemon Jr. Like, we weren't really like out here. Like, we saw it with McCormaker. Like, we all looked at him and were just like, hey, man, I think he's really good. Well, he's gone. All right. Exactly. Let's hope he doesn't become something.
Okay. Let's play this predictions, right? Before we go for today. In 3 years, is Marko Simonovic going to be the better NBA player or is it going to be McCormaker? And if it is McCormaker, how do we react, brother?
You know what? I got to go Marco, man. I got to go Marco. Yeah. One, because he plays for my team, and I don't want to have PTSD today. But I guess if McCormaker does become this superstar level player, I'd be a little sad because we're a little thin on the center positions out here. I mean, like Tony Bradley's gonna get a lot of time to be a bull. There's a lot more time than we think we needed. We got another year of freaking Tony Bradley. Luckily, he shouldn't play very much. But right now, I'm gonna die laughing if Tony Bradley is a dog, bro. I am gonna laugh.
Hey, there is some potential to that, man. And bringing a whole training camp with you're looking at Andre Drummond and you're looking at this 29-year-old who's literally just gonna come in and be like, "Hey, now let me show you how to work real quick."
I didn't even think about that. Like that might actually be crazy, bro. Like, no, see, this is what you want to do, and all of a sudden, Tony Bradley, like, it clicks with him, and he just turns into like the next Andre Drummond.
The thing with Tony, all Tony Bradley needs, because there were times last season where you talked about rim protection. Tony Bradley gave us that for like stretches of quarters and stuff like that. If Tony Bradley literally is just like, listen, I'm probably only going to get 8 minutes. Over those 8 minutes, I'm touching the ball every time on defense. I'm going to find a way to touch the ball. That completely changes the way he plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like if Shaq, like how Shaq simplifies it, like if that just clicks for him one day, just like, all I need is 6 points a quarter.
Right. See, I'm not even talking about the scoring. Like, I'm not even worried about Tony Bradley scoring. I'm worried about his consist, because defensively, like if you look at his per 36, which I know me and you both hate, his defense, it's amazing. That's why some people still quote it. But it's like, bruh, come on, man, just give us something. Fam.
That per 36 is the weakest stat I've ever heard in my life.
I hate that stat, bro. I hate it with a passion. Fam.
Hey, per 36, Cristiano Felicio cooking mugs out there. Bro.
I hate when we're having a basketball conversation with somebody. They're like, well, according to his per 36, if you give him more minutes, he'll be a double-double guy. That is not how that works, fam. It doesn't work that way.
According to his per 36. The thing you need to understand is if he has average numbers in his per 36, he sucks.
Exactly. That's the thing.
If you look at his per 36 and it says like a regular player, like 15 and 8, he sucks.
All right, man. PTSD's kicking in, bro. Go ahead and send us off, man.
Hey, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls, and you can follow me on everything at Pat The Designer. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love.
And you can follow me at CEO Haize, at CEO Haize. Make sure, something that we're trying to get better at, leave a rating if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts. We would love to hear from you guys on that, sound off on what you think about the podcast. Also, make sure you guys leave comments on the YouTube page. But thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, go and check on Locked On NBA, where you can catch our very own Pat The Designer over there once a week, where the Locked On Experts break down all those latest news, rumors, and developments going on around the NBA in 30 minutes or less. Locked On NBA can be found wherever you get your podcast. But for Pat The Designer, I'm Haize. This is Locked On Bulls, and we out. Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.